Well, COVID-19 travel restrictions are coming to an end this weekend. The federal government says there will be no more mandates to show proof of vaccination. Random testing and the ArriveCan app will now be an option. Jason Guidola joined us earlier tonight with more.
As the lifting of restrictions begins this Saturday, and Canadians coming home today tell me that it's a big relief and this will make travel a whole lot easier. However, Ottawa did send a warning today saying that restrictions could return if needed. This Saturday, travelers who are making their way into Canada will only have to show their passport to cross the border.
Our son goes to school in the U.S., so we're happy that it's going to be a lot easier now.
And don't forget the lineups at the border, too, are going to be lifted, too, because everybody's not all backed up for testing.
Ottawa says it's letting its COVID-19 border measures order expire, meaning inbound travelers, whether by land or air, will not be mandated to quarantine, show test results, or proof of vaccination. Also, masks will no longer be required on planes and trains. Also, starting Saturday, Canadians who are unvaccinated will no longer be required to isolate when they return to the country. But today at the Rainbow Bridge in Niagara Falls, some drivers were still selected for screening.
They randomly selected me as a COVID test, that's it.
Federal ministers say data is showing the peak of the latest wave has largely passed. They add restrictions will be reinstated if needed, but didn't say which ones.
The type of measures that can work and the type of measures that do work but need to be to come to an end, and which we are announcing today. And we will therefore leave open all possible options.
Health Minister Jean-Yves Duclos says the federal decision does not mean the pandemic is over. This following U.S. President Joe Biden's comments saying otherwise.
The answer is that if anyone has doubts as to whether COVID-19 still exists, I would invite that person to visit a hospital anywhere in Canada. We have between 4,000 and 5,000 people hospitalized every day.
One measure does remain in place, but only as an option, the ArriveCan app.
We had to go and download it at the last minute, but then technically didn't have to because they just checked our COVID vaccination card and that was it.
Like my parents, when they came over here, I had to do it for them because their English isn't great and they can't use the computer really well. So like for us, it's nothing because we just use our phones.
After many calls to axe the controversial screening tool, Niagara Falls Mayor Jim Diodati celebrates the news, but added the move should have came at the beginning of the tourism season.
So there hit a point where it was diminishing returns and it was causing a lot of collateral damage and it wasn't keeping us safer and it wasn't making things more efficient. So once the science was telling us that, that's when we expected things to end. For some reason it didn't. We still don't have an answer as to why.
Officials are cautioning anyone who is traveling between now and Saturday that they will be enforcing current COVID-19 border measures, including quarantine and testing. Jason Guidola, CHCH News.